everybody always needs help. I mean, you need a plumber. It's like, what kind of help? Well, is it help for your person, your bubble? When I'm talking to people, people are seeking advice. I try to point out that there's a continuum and help them figure out where are they at this moment on that continuum so that they can see that, okay, I'm happy with the plumber. This is not a plumber situation. This is a student.
Welcome to all of our fantastic and very curious viewers and listeners. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Circumstances. And today I have with me Danny Van Leeuwen. Hello, Danny.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been ages since we spoke. I'm just joking because we spoke yesterday. Okay, a few words about how I met Danny, and then I'm going to invite Danny to introduce himself. And I think I met you through Jerry. Jerry mentioned your name. I was contacting Jerry about caregivers, and she said you have to speak with Danny. So I think I contacted you. Yep. And we started talking, and a beautiful friendship was created. And a long time ago, you had me on your podcast. So I just want to say you have an amazing podcast named Health Hats. So highly
Thank you.
recommended. And when I thought about this podcast and exploring the concept of going beyond circumstances and what that means, it was very clear to me that we need to talk. So I invited you and you said yes. Yay. So welcome, Danny. For those who
Thank
don't
you.
know you yet,
Yeah.
tell us a few words about who you are, what you do, where you come from, what you love, anything you want us to
Okay.
know.
All right. So I'm a two-legged cisgender old white man of privilege, and I live in Boston, Massachusetts. My handle is Health Hats, and I'm known as Health Hats because I'm a person with multiple sclerosis. I have been care partner to several family members' end of life. I'm a registered nurse. I've led a couple of electronic health record implementations, and I've been in the C-suite of healthcare. I am now retired, which means that I'm no longer an employee or a boss, but I am very busy. I consider myself a patient caregiver activist. I am a podcaster, as you mentioned. I serve on a research board. I play music. I am an OPA. I've been married 50 years, very happily, most of those years, not all. Anyway, so that's me.
Well, it's lovely to have you. So you come with so many hats, and there's so many directions that we can explore. So let's just, dance in the moment,
Okay.
and feel free to, change hats. Use
Okay.
your patient hat, caregiver hat, activist hat, whatever.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with, something I always ask all of my guests, and that is, what do you think is one thing, or maybe more than one thing, that most people get wrong when they try to cope with a crisis or move beyond the current circumstances of their lives?
Interesting. Well, many. So let's start with it's really important to have a good team. And you set up a team actually as soon as you can, like before you need it. And the team includes healthcare people, family members, those people that you trust that you can bounce things off of, seek advice from, who will support your agency. And I think another thing is to learn how to embrace help. That um, it really took me a while to realize. So I'm a person with various annoying abilities. Let's say but mostly like in the realm of mobility. I'm a two forearm crutch wheelchair kind of guy, electric wheelchair kind of guy. And it really took me a while to be prepared to get help, use help. When it really started is we had a son who was, he passed away when he was 26 of uh, metastatic melanoma. And one of the things that we realized is that people really wanted to participate, they wanted to help, and we weren't prepared for that. And so we had this routine of every Friday. This was before like cell phones and internet. And we had like a call with my son and his girlfriend and her parents and our kids, the other kids. And we would, what's going on this week, and what are the appointments, what are results, just keeping each other up to speed and making sure everything was in order. But we realized that there were so many people who wanted to help, and we weren't prepared for that. And so we made it part of our agenda to, when people want to help, what are we going to ask? What do we need? And it really changed once I started needing help, it really helped me accept it. And mostly people, well, they just want to help. They're nice and it's awkward. So I've had to learn there's certain things I draw the line at, where, if I fall and somebody wants to pull me by my arm, this is not acceptable help. But if I'm like in a food line and I can reach the food, I just as soon do my own plate, but they really want to help. So I'll let them help. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like coming to terms with how are you going to deal with people who are nice people, mostly, who want to help. And, how do you deal with that? So I think those two things.
I want to go back to something you said about the team. You mentioned
Okay.
trust. And I think the
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
is a huge issue.
it is.
For me, the early years with my illness, I had a lot of issues around asking for help and accepting help. And I realized that it came to my ability to trust myself to be okay if I asked for help and people said no.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
was the key. And once I got that,
No.
yeah, if they
Yeah.
say no, because if they say yes, then that's okay. But what if they say no? Once I was able to, to really unpack that
Uh
and
huh.
heal the big break of trust that I had, with myself, because
Uh,
I was diagnosed when I was 26, so huge break of trust between myself and my body. But let's focus on trust for a second.
okay.
How can we help clients, people rebuild trust and confidence, after a major crisis?
Well, I mean, trust is such a moving target. Trust is so depends on the circumstances, the players, the moment. It's not, I mean, I really trust my wife. She really trusts me, but she would never follow any directions I gave her. I have no sense of there's no trusting my sense of geography. I mean, maybe you could trust that if I say go right, you ought to go left. But and that's a silly example, but it sort of depends. There's no absolute. And I think the the trusting yourself is the key to trusting anything. And so I think giving yourself grace, like, okay, so, and also it's also grace and just thinking that this is like one big sandbox. And I'm gonna try something. And if it's only that I'm gonna try something in my mind and try it out for size, and then, man, that felt like crap, and then not doing it. Okay, well then you've had an experience where it didn't work out, whether it's in real life or in your mind. And so I think that it's something that you build and yeah, you're right. It's so big. I mean, I just think I love my primary care physician and we're very close and long time we've worked together. And then, she'll have a medical student, right? And oh my God, I just don't want to talk to that person. Like the poor thing, it's like, I don't know that person. I don't trust that person. I don't want to put the energy in. And then I think, oh my God, you're being such a jerk. This is just somebody who's a student. But still, I know. And so it's, same office, same whatever, and trust one, don't trust the other. I don't know. It's a big one. It's such a big one.
And it is a moving target. I mean, it changes all the time. And I can really relate to the whole thing with a student. I mean, I have two doctors, a pulmonologist and a cardiologist. I love them both. I have an amazing relationship with them. But every now and again, my pulmonologist has a student, and I'm really conflicted. It's like all of a sudden, because there's this intimacy, and I really trust my doctor, and it took me a while to get there. And now this, this third person, it's a dilemma. And then I say, "Oh, Shiri, come on, it's a learning opportunity. Be generous." Still,
Right. I mean, you're a teacher too, and you offer mentoring
exactly.
opportunities for people, but they got to deal with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, this is an intimate space. So we talked a little bit about trust. And I kind of want to go, back to the whole needing help versus helpless. Because that's
Um,
something that I find myself needing to help my clients reframe. The fact that you need help doesn't make you helpless.
right.
What's that
Right.
like? What's the invitation here? Because I think everything has a hidden invitation, growth. There's an opportunity there.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
how do you see this? What could be the deeper invitation here when you need help?
Well, I mean, everybody always needs help. I mean, you need a plumber, that's help. It's not so it's like what kind of help? Well, is it help for your person, your bubble? No, I think it's that, it's really the way that I usually when I'm, talking to people, people are seeking advice, or maybe I'm giving unsolicited advice, which, happens. I try to like point out that there's a continuum and help them figure out where are they at this moment on that continuum so that they can see that, okay, I'm happy with the plumber. This is not a plumber situation. This is a student. Okay, maybe I could say to them, I'm having a lot of trouble talking to you because I have the relationship with the doctor. Okay, that's going to right away is going to build a little bit of trust because I mean, what is trust? Trust is opening your heart. And that's always a risk, whether you're madly in love with, well, especially if you're madly in love with the person. But, when you really open your heart, you don't know. I mean, opening your heart means you can't control it. And so it is the, a measure of sanity that you don't walk around all the time with an open heart, right? It would kill
Yeah.
you.
True.
So, anyway, so I think of it as a continuum and then try to, help people figure out, and do they want to move 1 degree to the right or left or up or down or whatever in their trust or whatever it is, their help, their, whatever they're dealing with when they're dealing with themselves or, a caree.
I'm with you on that. I like that. I like that. So you mentioned building a team. I
Uh-huh.
want to invite us to look at it from a patient perspective and a caregiver perspective, a family caregiver. Okay. What are some tips, you would give a patient? When I say patient, it's a person that's coping with an illness or health medical crisis, that's happening in their body. How to start building a team that you trust, and tips for their family caregiver. If you're a caregiver caring for a loved one or even someone that you don't love so much, because that happens as well, you need a team as well. So how do you start building that team?
Well, my feeling as a person with a chronic progressive illness is that the first step is realizing that there's going to be moments where you're just in the acute phases. So I look at like symptomology. I'm getting to the question, but I look at
Absolutely.
symptomology like, something is annoying, moderately annoying, seriously annoying, and disabling. And disabling is when I can't function. And so it is really important, like pain, you're in so much pain. It's like, the toothache that just it's all you can think about is the toothache. Um, and you can't like do anything else. But at those moments, like that's the first team member. Somebody who, will be there for you, knows you, and will mostly follow what you want,
Yeah.
which is and I think that and I think that then there's like for me it's like identifying who are my key clinicians, so my PCP, my primary care physician, and my neurologist. And I had a good relationship with my first neurologist, and then he moved. And so then I had to go through a process of vetting. And I live in Boston, which are, we have a ton of doctors. So I'm in a very, again, this is me being privileged that I have choices. And I did, I made interview appointments with neurologists. And right away, there were those that, well, right, there was one who like was just appalled that I was there to interview her. And no, I just left. I said, well, thank you very much. Charge me whatever you want. You're not it. And then there was somebody who wouldn't use the portal for us. I don't know what everybody has, but what that is an electronic view into my health record or some of my health record. And it's a way to text my clinicians. Well, I make heavy use of that. And somebody who didn't, I wouldn't, and then I found a good, somebody, and we have, it's been 10 years. I think that, like, I would say that the key people for me are often not medical, other than those two. I mean, I do see like 6 other specialists, but I don't consider them core. Like, I don't have as high a standards, but my acupuncturist, my chiropractor, massage therapist, these are really important because, my whole shtick is trying to keep things in the moderately annoying or less frame, right? That's the goal. And I need, and this is kind of glib, but I need 3 things that are likely to work for anything that's, like a symptom. So whether it's, urinary tract or it's balance or it's pain or different kinds of pain, I need something in my tool chest. And I
Yeah.
need, because nothing ever works all the time. Nothing,
True.
absolutely nothing. But there's certain things that work a lot, like drink water. That's my first go to. How did I even get to this? Anyway, I'm talking in circles, but you'll redirect me.
I will.
Okay, but I know why I'm saying this because part of this building a team is also knowing those things that are really important to you and making sure that people on your team know that and can live with that. So for me, I'm a pathologically optimistic person, and I don't really want to mess with that because my symptoms are worse. Everybody has normal ups and downs. Mine are like up here.
Yeah.
And when I'm on my relative down, my symptoms are worse. So I don't want to mess with that. And so they need to know that. I want to keep playing the saxophone. That's really important to me. So I want to progress as slowly as possible. I'm not trying to be pain free, right? I want to keep it at the moderately annoying level.
Yeah.
And so these are things that, in terms of building a team, it's important that they know these things about me.
So I,
And
I
then
want
when
to,
I can't make decisions, I just have to trust that.
yeah.
And actually, I find that being chronically ill is like putting in a kitchen. There are so many decisions to make all the time.
Time.
The knobs, the slides, the doors, whatever, all these things. And I just can't be making all these decisions. It's just too much. So I want, so except for those few things, like I just said, when somebody on my team recommends something, well, I'm an idiot if I don't do it. And so sometimes I'm an idiot, but mostly not.
So I'm hearing some tips here, okay, or some guidelines.
Okay.
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 One is understand your acute needs.
Yeah.
Figure them out. What needs to happen, when you're in acute phase. To review people and vet them. That's so huge. I speak with, about that, with my clients so much. Interview your doctors, interview your
Yeah,
caregivers. I mean, you can't always interview your family, but yeah, I guess you can. You can.
you can.
That's the second thing. The third thing is really be clear about what's important for you during chronic times when it's not acute in terms of, your well-being, your quality of life, your deal breakers, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing that you said earlier was be very clear about the way that you want to be helped.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is
Yes.
how you help me. I don't want to say something about, you said people that are there for you. And this is a little tip for caregivers and friends of people that are living with a chronic illness. Don't say I'm here for you without actually, unpacking what that means, because then it's just an empty sentence, isn't it?
Yes. 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 Yeah. Well, and sometimes, you have energy for that and sometimes you don't,
You
but
don't. Yeah.
right.
So what would be some tips for a family caregiver to build a team? Because, caring for a loved one can be very, very lonely and exhausting.
I absolutely. I think help the helpers. That the caregivers absolutely need their own team of support and they need to be willing to ask for help and accept help and kind of know what would be helpful. Um it's I mean, I'm just thinking, all the different times I've been a family caregiver. What did I need? Well, what I need is, well, I think one of the biggest things for me, which is true as a caregiver and just an everyday person, is to reduce the stress that you can reduce. Because there's so much stress that you can't do anything about. I can't do anything about that I have MS. I have MS. I mean, it sucks. But okay, I got it. Like now what? Well, here's a story. So when my son was sick and we knew he was going to die and his attitude was great. I wasn't born with a tattoo on my ass telling me how long I had to live. So I decided I needed some counseling. No, I'm not one to wait. No, when I need something, I need something. And again, I interviewed a couple of counselor types and then found somebody who in like the first 15 minutes, was what stresses you out, you know, and I listed a bunch of things. And he goes, "Okay, so let's see. You can't do anything about that one. You can't do anything about that one, but you could do something about this one." So this one was at that time was like my mother and my relationship with my mother, which needed some attention. And so he said, "Okay, now this is something you can do something about. So what are you going to do? Let's think of two things you can try. Now, okay, nice meeting you. Go do it." Right?
Yeah.
Which was great, and the first one worked, and it was like, "My God," like the weight, and so this business of dealing with the stresses that you can deal with, I think that's really big, both for the caregiver and the caree.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if there are any caregivers listening to us or caregiver coaches listening to us, that's the first thing, okay? Take the time. First of all, understand that you need a team, okay? And then figure out what do you need and how do you need it? Yeah, and the stress
Yeah.
thing is a huge, huge component.
Well, we did this thing when my grandmother, my grandmother, we were living in West Virginia. We were like back to the land hippies, and we built an addition onto the house and brought my grandmother from California to West Virginia to live with us. And we were her caregivers, and she was miserable, a woman. But one of the things that we did was that we had two kids, two little kids, and once a quarter, we we spent one night away. We went to some cheap motel and just had, a day, well, one night, day on either side, and somebody came or people came because they, took turns and came and took care of the kids and the, you know, grandmother and chores, and we could get away.
So
And
important.
'Cause it was hard. It was so hard, and I was not my best self. She just pissed me off to no end, my grandmother, and I wasn't that nice of a person to her, and so that really bothered me, and so it was great to be able to get away and just chill, and renew our relationship and remember that that was really important, and, if we were gonna get through this, we needed to still be married.
That's nurturing your resources. Seriously,
Yeah,
definitely.
and it's hard. I mean, but actually, it's not as hard as it wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Like, I'm more of a person who's willing to ask for help. My wife, not so much. Um, she's a "I can do it" kinda person, but it was good. It was good. So, anyways.
So, Danny, we are close to the end.
Okay.
So, some of your top resilience building techniques.
Okay. I mean, I would say I think the most important and I'm not being flippant, drink water.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that hydration is so is a key to spiritual health.
That's so true. People are not aware, it affects the way that your brain works and your entire.
Y
I mean, when I am dehydrated, my heart rate goes up and I get all confused. Okay.
Yeah.
I've
So
that
I would
happened.
say drink water.
Yeah.
For me, it's to have a different world somewhere, like and for me, it's music, where I can be that's, not feeling sorry for myself. Another thing, so I am a pathologically optimistic person, and there's a downside to that. The downside to that is that it really sucks, and what I've learned is that I need 2 minutes periodically, and it might not sound like much, but I need 2 minutes to bitch, just to bitch, and I don't want anybody to fix me. I just wanna bitch. I just wanna talk how much this sucks, and I have rules for myself. I can't be repetitive, that's why 2 minutes can be a really long time. I have to, like, keep thinking about what's another thing that really sucks. I'm not so much for people who dribble their pain and annoyances, and it's just like never ending. I don't really have patience for that. But, give me a dump of like how much things suck. I mean, that's hysterical, actually. After about 2 minutes, it's pretty funny. And so I have people, my wife's a good person for that, but I have friends you know, who I can just say, call or talk to and just say, I need 2 minutes to bitch. And they're like, okay, and then you just get it out. So there you go.
I love that. And I'm so happy you said it because I thought I was the only one.
No.
I call it a pity party. And sometimes I really need to be alone and I celebrate. And usually it's 5, 10 minutes, but I like hardcore. And I have these
Yeah.
rituals and of course the boundaries. And sometimes my go-to people are my sisters. And I'm like, okay, pity party time. And all they need to do is, uh-huh.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't fix me.
That's
Don't
it.
give me advice. Don't cheer me up.
That's right.
I'm vomiting now. That's it.
That's right. That's right. Get it out. There you go. That's good. All right.
Thank you so much for saying
Yeah,
yes.
this was fun.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, our dear listeners and viewers, for joining us today. If you're a coach and you want to learn how to support your clients through life's hardest challenges or medium challenges, tune into the next episodes and check us out on social media for additional content and trainings. And thank you so much for listening. And again, Danny, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
goodbye, everyone.